Consistency and commitment, two vital ingredients really to succeed at most things, to be honest. But when it comes to getting your little one to sleep, without consistency and commitment, you're going to get very limited results. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what those two things really mean and how important their role is. So let me start by talking about the commitment aspect. When you want to make a change, any kind of change, you have to be fully committed to making that difference, to actually implementing something and really making a difference. So you have to commit to it. And it's really no different to deciding you want to lose weight, for example. If you don't fully commit to it, you're going to waver with it. You're going to do a bit, stop a bit. You're not really going to fully commit. So you're not going to get the results. And it's the same really with anything. It really is. If you've decided that it's time that your child was sleeping better, that if you know they can, if you know they could be doing so much better, and you're just not sure how, but you're committed to resolving it, you're committed to improving that for your family, then that's where you need to be, fully committed. And when I work with families one-on-one, that's something that really shows up straight away. If they're fully committed, and they're not going to work with somebody like me, they're not going to engage in one of my programs unless they're fully committed. Occasionally people do, and you know, they quickly realise that they weren't fully committed, and that's something a challenge we work through. But most people, by the time they're picking up the phone and asking for my help, they are committed to resolving the challenges that they're having. If you're not committed, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to start something and you're going to either second guess yourself, you're going to make excuses for yourself, and I see so many of these excuses disguised as reasons. And what that often looks like is, oh, I can't start now because there's some teething, and I can't start and I can't do anything now because we're moving house in a month, or oh, I can't do anything because we travel around a lot, or you know, there's just different things. There's a new baby coming, there's building work next door, you know. Sometimes the perfect time just never arrives, and you just got to plow on and make the best of the situation that you have got. You know, there are people in other countries and in other environments and cultures where they never have as an ideal an opportunity as we do. So you have to kind of weigh things up. Sure, if your child isn't well, it's not the best time to start. But you know, pick a good time when, you know, the odds are mostly in your favour, even if you haven't got all your ducks in a row. You've got to at some point go for it and check in with yourself. You know, is this a real reason, or is this just an excuse? Am I just letting myself off the hook for a bit longer? So that's why you need to be committed. If you also start a plan and you're not really committed, then you're quickly going to come up with those reasons, excuses, as to why it's not working for you. So, you know, again, there'll be, you'll have all kinds of reasons. Oh, it's not working. What is it? It doesn't work, you work. It comes from within. It's not an external thing. You know, sure, you get the tools and the knowledge and the plans and the processes and all the information to apply it, but ultimately you have to commit to actually seeing that through. So if you're not fully committed, there'll be things, and as soon as the slightest thing comes up that makes you feel like you're off the hook or that you can pass the buck, you're going to go, oh yeah, I couldn't do it because it didn't work for me because. And again, I know I don't let people off the hook that easily. I want the results. I want to see you get where you want to be. So I'm not very good at listening to excuses, I have to say. But that's because I know and I see it every day in my practice that those that really commit and that have the consistency get amazing life-changing results. And actually, I can give you a very quick analogy of how this is exactly the same in other areas of life. But in fitness, for example, I've told people this story before, but where I took on a fitness regime that I thought, oh, I can do this around kids, I can do it around family time, it's not too long, I can do it at home, you know, all these things stacked in my favour. And for a year or so, I dabbled with it. I had fads where I did it every day, fads where I didn't do it much and did it intermittently. I really wanted the results, but I clearly wasn't fully committed because fluctuated up and down as to how much I actually did it. But once I made that commitment fully and decided that I was gonna do it, then I was consistent with implementing it. And once I started to implement it consistently, oh my gosh, the results, you know, and I've even now I'm at a point where I'm fitter and healthier than ever before, but it's because I consistently implement the thing that I'm committed to. And that's, you know, I know that's a sideline and that's a separate example, but it just goes to prove how, and I think it's one that's easy to understand, it just goes to prove how commitment and consistency get you the results. And I'm sure you can think of other examples as well. So if you make that decision, so deciding is the first piece, and you commit to that decision, then you've got to be consistent in the process, in the implementation. Now, what that involves will be different for everybody. And if you're doing one of my sleep programs, then I will tailor that for you, and you'll know what the pieces of the puzzle are and what you need to do and how to implement that. And it kind of shifts and changes as the tide, and we work with the individual. But the point there is that you're consistently implementing it. You don't do a bit, don't bother, or start and then stop for a while and then try and get back to it. I mean, more so than in any other area of life, when it comes to your children and you are delivering a message to them of some sort, you've got to be consistent, because not only can it be disruptive for them if you're not consistent in the messages you give, it can also make them feel a bit insecure because they don't know where they stand. And on top of that, inconsistency can also lead to very strong-willed children who will dig their heels in and hold out for the other result that they got from you the other day, you know? So if you say one time that a certain thing isn't allowed or a certain situation can't happen, and then another time you demonstrate that actually it can, where does that leave them? They don't really know. And so when they're having that meltdown because you're saying no this time, it's because you said yes last time, and they don't understand why it's changed. They don't really know where they stand. And the same goes right, you know, this can show up more with toddlers, preschoolers, young children, and so on. But right from the baby age, just the kind of the communication of crying, you know, crying doesn't always mean distress. Crying to communicate something, and you respond with a certain thing, you deliver a certain thing back as a response to the cry, and then next time you don't. And then they might cry because they're frustrated and they don't know why. So the consistency in the messages that you send is vital throughout parenting, to be honest, throughout parenting. Have you ever been in a situation where, and I'm thinking more with young children now, and I know lots of parents will relate to this, where you said no to something, and then 10 minutes, 15 minutes later you think, why did I say no to that? I actually really don't mind, it wouldn't be that big a deal, I wish I'd said yes. But you've got to stick to your guns now because you've said it, and you've almost just got to see that one through and take note that maybe that wouldn't have been such a bad thing. It's called picking your battles. But there are times when I've done that and I know I've thought, oh, I wish I'd just said yes actually. But I've got to see it through, otherwise what message am I sending? I'm sending that if you cause a big enough scene, stamp your feet, have a paddy about it, that the answer will change. And that's not actually a great thing to teach children generally, and in terms of life skills, we don't want to teach our children that by having a tantrum about something gets them the result. It's really not going to teach them problem solving and so on. That's a whole nother topic, but back to the point of consistency and commitment. I hope I'm explaining this well, in that you can understand how once you commit, you decide what you want. When you're committed, you're all in. You're all in. You're like, I'm not going to give up. I'm gonna work through this, and I'm gonna stick to this, and I'm gonna see this through. Once you're committed, that's where you are, and then you're consistently responding to your child and implementing your plan daily and consistently. The answers don't change, the outcomes don't change, and you keep going. That's how you get results in helping your children sleep better. That's how you get results in most areas of improvement. So I hope that helps. And when people come to me and say, what if it doesn't work? I think this is a really key message to respond with, which is, it's not about it working. It works. I can tell you it works. If it didn't work, I would not have the Sleep Nanny working in the way that it does so magnificently, helping so many hundreds of families. But if you actually apply the tools and you're committed and you're consistent, it will work. I know it will work. I can't make you do that. That has to come from within. I can give you the tools. You can lead a horse to water. I can give you the tools. I can give you every piece you need. I can give you the knowledge. I can get you the know-how, the tools, even the theory and the philosophy and everything else, so that you fully know what you're doing. But I can't make you do it. So it will work if the commitment and consistency comes from within. There you go. So a little message for you on those two very key components for results in getting your little one to sleep really well.